Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Ballin' with Bash and Ted. I'm Ted, TedH6, at TedH6. You can find me on Twitter or YouTube at that handle. Also, my name in my show is Ted Talks Ball. I got Bashar, the one and only, the master of the Bash Rants. You may know him as at 49er Minded on Twitter, on YouTube as well. And together we are Ballin' with Bash and Ted, usually coming to you on Fridays at 3 p.m. However, I have my second funeral in the last few weeks of a friend of mine's parents. So unfortunately, we couldn't stick with that. But Bash has been so great about helping accommodate my crazy schedule. Fridays are getaway days a lot of times too. So, Bash, thanks so much for being so accommodating. And we got so much to cover, but talk to me, baby. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I hope you're doing okay. I didn't know about the two funerals. I knew about one of them. So
Yeah,
sorry about
my
that.
buddy had his dad was 93 and passed away, and luckily, just about a week before the service, or 2 weeks before, we had his 93rd birthday in San Mateo at this pretty park by the water, kind of near Foster City, San Mateo border. I think it's San Mateo on one side, Foster City on the other, and and all the family was there, and all the cousins and uncles and everything, and he was just so happy to see everyone. And literally the next night he passed away. I think he just went out on a high note, and I think he was just really happy, and I know my friend was really happy I was able to make it. He's the one I go to a lot of the games with, who has season tickets. And then another friend had their mother pass away not too long ago, and so we're doing a memorial service tomorrow afternoon. That's what happens when you push up over 50. Your parents of friends start dying. I mean, my parents could die. Hopefully not soon. But got to start preparing for things like that. This happens
Yeah.
at this age.
And my condolences. It's not just parents. It's people who were who are my age or a little younger or way younger. Just sometimes. I mean, there's a stream that I watch all the time. It's called Sin City Family. I haven't watched them in about over a month and a half or so, but I used to watch it a lot. And it's these people that party in Las Vegas, and they always record every stream of their party in Las Vegas, and they party like rock stars. It's this married couple, and they have all these friends that follow them everywhere they go on Fremont Street in Vegas. Long story short, one guy who hangs out with them, who was kind of like their paid bodyguard. I didn't know that they had somebody that they paid to pal around with them like that, but he was their friend as well. And long story short, this is like a guy I thought he was like 30, big dude. Apparently he's only 22, and lo and behold, they did a stream the other night, and like 2 hours or 3 hours after the stream, he got in a fatal car accident. So, just let your loved ones know that you love them. When you hang out with your friends, you never know, it might be the last time you see them. So, it is what it is. It's part of life. We talk about football, we have fun on here, but when life gets in the way, more important things get in the way. I definitely like to acknowledge it. So, rest in peace to your friends, and my condolences. And and to the Sin City family. I don't know if anybody's a fan of that show, but they lost Grumpy. His real name is Anthony. If anybody ever watched that, it's a really famous YouTube stream. So shout out to them. Rest in peace.
Bummer. Yeah, that sucks. It's part of life. Without the bad times, the good times wouldn't feel nearly so good. So I got to take the good with the bad, or the bad with the good in this case, and keep on moving. So we got Jimmy Perez in the house, Somi Mara, James Durnall, Donald Johnson, fired up 49ers. Ian coming to us from Australia. Somi Mara, Silly Fungi, giving condolences, thanks. And then we got James Durnall saying, we keep talking about Purdy's poor deep ball, the fact that it can drag safeties down closer to the line of scrimmage. Does he really need it? The safeties only need to stay back because of yak threat. No. They stay up to eliminate the yak threat. So, the safeties, when you throw deep, you pull a safety out of the box. And when you can run and be a threat with your legs, that keeps one of the defenders left in the box spying the quarterback. That's why I like quarterbacks that have big arms and big legs. Now, I'm not going to do that and sacrifice what Purdy has, which is he's a mental giant. He's got poise, decision-making, all that. I just wish he had more than one elite physical trait. The one that I see is quickness. But clearly a great leader, great poise, decision-making, accuracy. All the intangibles. Purdy is, a mental giant. He's a beast, and I really like him a lot. And I was also saying that, basically, he's easily the best valued quarterback in the NFL. These elite quarterbacks that I'm mentioning, Most of them cost 45 to 60 times as much as Purdy does. And guess what, folks? They're not 45 to 60 times better. And Trevor Lawrence, I don't even know if he's elite, but let's just say he is for argument's sake, or he's about to be. He's still at least 10 times as expensive, or around 10 times as expensive as Purdy. Trevor Lawrence isn't 10 times better than Purdy. So I don't see any value in the NFL quarterback better. And then I had somebody say today, there's no value in professional sports better than Brock Purdy. I'm like, I can't think of any. So like people call me a hater. I just said today, I think the people who call me a hater, I think they don't really believe I hate Purdy, because I've said it again and again that I don't. I think they just hate me. And so that's fine. You can hate me. I'm not here to be liked. So
It's okay. We like you, Ted. Don't worry.
Thanks, Bash. I appreciate it. You don't have to say that.
That guy from Australia, that's awesome, man. It's pretty cool that we got a viewer from down under, the land down under. Of course, we got James Durnall from the UK. I always appreciate when he's on here, and everybody on my chat, the regulars. I see all you guys, man. Kenny Somi and Randy and Donald Johnson, and always good to see you guys around. So shout out to you guys for hitting us up and watching our show.
Yeah, Randy says the only thing that hit that hard is All-Pro Fred. He had a real big hit against Najee Harris. Kind of reminded me of the guide Fred missile against the Rams last year, Week 8, when he just leveled their running back, got fully horizontal and airborne. So cool, so cool. I got Jim Everett, the great, your favorite, 4 years Walmart offensive line of complete collapse. Edge rusher Byron Young, Rams rookie sensation. Ted, make note of that. Will do. I just think, if you're saying there's a downfall based on TJ Watt, he's arguably the best edge rusher in the NFL. And if you don't want to argue, you could just say he's easily top 4 edge player in the NFL. So that's going to make people look worse. So is Week 1. So is, McKivitz not having Bosa in the offseason to get iron sharpening iron and get ready for this season. I think we'll see McKivitz, Bosa, and Trent Williams all improve as the weeks go on here in the next 3-4 weeks.
Byron Young is not the equivalent to TJ Watt. I'm not saying he said that, but he's trying to act like Byron Young is going to give us all kinds of crazy fits like TJ Watt did last week. I mean, I'm not a big McKivitz fan either, but come on, I think against certain players, the majority of the league, McKivitz might be able to hold his own. I'm not 100% sold on the guy, but I mean, yeah, I'm not worried about a rookie in comparison to what we face with TJ Watt. Red Jet Shells in the chat. Shout out to her. She was on with Lawrence on Platform 246 last night. She did an excellent job. So she's a great photographer too, by the way. So shout out to her.
Randy said, besides Mahomes, the pocket passer is still king. Do you think that, Bash?
I mean, Mahomes is a pocket passer, but he likes to, he likes to, what's the word? Improvise a bit, right? So it just depends. I mean, I like pocket passers too, of course, but I also I want a pocket passer with mobility. Remember Russell Wilson with the Seahawks? That is not the current Russell Wilson. I don't know what happened to his career, to be honest with it. But the Seahawks Russell Wilson is definitely something I like. I love the Mahomes style. Josh Allen. I can go on and on. I mean, Joe Burrow, you could say, is a pocket guy. I like Joe Burrow. I like Joe Burrow a lot.
Joe's pretty mobile. He's not fast, but he's.
Mm-hmm. Purdy's mobile. Purdy's mobile. He's just not, he's not Steve Young mobile, but he's mobile enough to get out.
He's quick. And, he's not fast.
Yeah, he's very, very quick. He from time to time he has excellent awareness. Sometimes at points of times in that Steeler game when TJ Watt, that is, when TJ Watt was whipping McKivitz like a rag doll, he kind of noticed things a bit late. I mean, which was scary because he got walloped on one of those plays, and I blame McKivitz more so than anything else. I don't want to blame Purdy for not noticing it later or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, we were about one play away from seeing Sam Darnold for the rest of the season, basically, and I didn't want to see that. So
I would say we were about 3 plays away. There were 3 or 4 that really gave me pause during the game, and not in the funny way. There was the strip sack by TJ Watt where, Purdy didn't have any internal clock. And that's sort of the flip side about Purdy is there is interesting the other day on 95.7 The Game, they were saying, don't pray for rain and then complain about the weather. And what they meant was don't sit here and say, hey, I love Brock's quickness and his mobility, and then be surprised when he gets splattered by extending the play too long and holding the ball too long. So It's a concern. It's one thing I love about him, but it's also something that concerns me. It's a dual-edged sword, if you will. As far as pocket QBs being king, no, man, no. None of the elite QBs are pocket QBs anymore. I mean, Mahomes isn't, Josh Allen isn't, Herbert isn't, Burrow, you could argue, but I think he's less of a pocket passer than what we're talking about here. I think he's more mobile than pocket. Aaron Rodgers maybe started to turn into a pocket passer, but he's kind of gone. Trevor Lawrence isn't a pocket passer. No, I think all the elite QBs are not pocket passers, so I don't think they're king. And people go, well, they haven't won any rings. I'm like, well, they're young. They're young. So, geez, it can take a little time to win a ring, right? I mean,
shout out to Panama Queen, though. What's up? Just a diehard Niner fan in Panama Queen.
McNiner in the house. What's up, McNew, McNuevo? Go ahead. Go on, Bash. Take us away here.
I was gonna say, is Jim Everett the Great really a Rams fan, or is that Steve-O pretending to be a Rams fan? I've always thought that.
I don't know.
I hate to bring that up
in my channel, so I don't think it's Steve-O because I think Steve-O's upset with me, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
A lot of people are upset with you, Ted. Nothing new.
Yeah, well, no, this week has been exceptional. I lost over 200 followers on Twitter, and
oh, really? That's a lot.
5 subs on YouTube, and yeah, I mean, I got the subs back. I'm back to 540, but I was at 540 to start the week, dropped to 535, and now I'm back. Speaking of subs and all that, we are on both channels. So if you're on my channel, make sure you get over to 49er Minded, give Bash a like and a subscribe. Same thing, if you're on his channel, make sure you give me a like and subscribe. It really helps us out. I've hit my 4K watch hours to monetize, so I just need the subs. Doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to turn on subscription, notifications or anything like that. Just subscribe. It's free. It really helps me. So thanks in advance. Also, if you're watching on a PC, open up 2 tabs, watch us both at the same time. And if you're on a phone, you guys, whip out a tablet or second device and stream onto 2 devices. It really helps us. So thanks in advance for everyone helping on that. Randy says McKay learned a lot last week. Give him a chance. I don't know. We'll see. I think he's just going to get better from more experience and better from not playing TJ Watt and better from playing more with Bosa in practice. I think all those things.
Missing Bosa in practice was not good for this O-line, especially for McKivitz. It was really, really bad. So I'm willing to cut him a little bit of a slack for that, but I'm still mad that we didn't try to upgrade the position at all because McKivitz was our depth piece last year. So we lost McGlinchey's starter, and now our depth pieces got weaker because McKivitz became the starter. So you have to replenish that some way, somehow. And when you don't, it's just lazy and ignorant. And people get mad at me because they think I want to kill Kyle Shanahan, or I think I want Kyle Shanahan fired. It's like, I can criticize Kyle Shanahan and still support this damn team. Like, I don't understand this, like, where you have to bootlick Kyle Shanahan just because he's our coach. They messed up big time. You have to draft an offensive tackle if you lose one. Either that or sign one, or trade for one, do something. Right now, we have the most cap space in the NFL, so I still don't think they're going to do anything and make any moves. Offensive linemen, teams hold those people in high regard, and I don't see a trade happening. So we literally have to wait till next year, which sucks because who knows who can go down with the injury. I don't want to see Purdy go down. I don't want to see Sam Darnold as our quarterback. And for the record, Purdy looked really, really nice in that Steelers game. Yeah, so whenever you want to touch on the whole Purdy thing, I can expand on that. So
no, I would say he looked very good. I would say great, if not for the 2 fumbles. That was another moment that was sort of like a SHI, you know what moment, was when he went and got the ball back behind his back and TJ Watt was like this. I thought TJ Watt was going to rip it out and maybe injure his arm. I was really nervous about that. But other than the 2 fumbles, Purdy was probably great on Sunday. And I think he could have been even greater if Kenny Pickett and Najee Harris and crew, George Pickens and Deontay Johnson had applied a little more pressure there, tight ends, Freiermuth, and obviously Darnell Washington, my draft crush. If they had applied a little more pressure, I have no doubts we could have scored more than 30 points in that game if we had just kept the foot to the gas pedal. I felt like towards the end we were playing the clock more than trying to score. So Purdy was very, I said very impressive, very good, very impressive.
We made a lot of mistakes. We should have put up 40 points actually. I think it was Spencer Burford had some penalties or something like that at some points in time. So we had a lot of lapses, and we should have put up way more points. But at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. I mean, a victory is a victory, and we put up. It was lopsided as it was, anyways. regardless. Most of the damage was done in the first half, though. But yeah, Purdy. I mean, he's like, I know you like to say he doesn't have any elite traits, but
No,
I mean,
besides quickness,
yeah,
physical.
he's got the quickness, but like the mental aspect of the game, he already has that down.
Mental
Now,
giant.
there are some awareness issues. I mentioned because of, and it's not coming from his blind side; it's coming from his right side. So
Yeah,
he just
poise,
needs to.
too much
He needs
poise.
to. He
He's
just
like
needs to.
so focused
Mhm.
downfield. He's oblivious to the pass
Yeah,
rush. It's a concern, and
and
hopefully,
Kyle
and it's something
touched.
he can
Kyle,
learn. It can be learned. It's just I hope he
yeah.
learns before he gets hurt again.
Kyle touched on that as well. I forgot where the interview was. They mentioned that though. After, like, what were you telling Purdy on the sidelines after he got sacked? And it looked like they had some big plays in mind, which is good. I like the fact that they were trying to throw something downfield and orchestrate some big plays. But so he'll learn. He's still, he was a rookie last year, but he didn't even play a full 16 games last year. So there's plenty that he still has to learn. But in general, the mental aspect of the game so far, I'd say, and his confidence, like those traits that he has are pretty elite. And as of now, he doesn't have the elite arm. I don't think he ever will, but who knows? Maybe one day down the road he could possibly improve on that. Not sure, but we'll see.
Randy
I mean, so far, I like
Daytona's
what I saw
okay.
so far. Though so far, I really liked what I saw.
Oh shit, it was great. It was a great win. I just don't know that I trust the Steelers to be a very good team. They barely had a winning record. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They lost a bunch of players on defense. And then of their 3 stars on defense, I only count TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and Minka Fitzpatrick as stars. I think Alex Highsmith is on the cusp of that. I think he got most of his sacks because of attention to TJ Watt rather than when Watt was out. But but then Cam Hayward went down in the first half. He tried to come back and couldn't. So that's one of their third of their top defensive players was out for the second half. So I mean, they don't have any linebackers. They had Quan, who's just a hype guy who's just always injured and basically washed at this point. Real quick though, Randy Daytona keeps trying to say things about mobile quarterbacks. Randy, who was in the Super Bowl last year? Mahomes and Hurts. They're both very mobile quarterbacks. So drop it, man. Drop it. Oh no, keep going. Whatever. Do whatever you want. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. It's fun. But I mean,
I'll
say
say
that
this,
the pocket passer
okay.
is king. It's just not true, especially since Brady's gone. Now Rodgers is probably gone. The younger generation, the current elite quarterbacks are all mobile, other than maybe Burrow. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how you classify him. He's certainly not just he's not a statue like Jimmy. I'll say that for sure, however you want to say. Jason and I are Smash Massey in the house. Steve-O, mention his name, he appears. So welcome, Steve-O.
Yo, Steve-O.
Steve-O, allegedly Steve-O. So we're not sure.
Allegedly. By the way, Steve-O Customs. This I have.
Yes, he makes custom sneaks. So hit him up.
There's Steve-O Customs, and I found proof this is legit. I thought he was Steve-O Supremo as well, but he's not. He's his own guy. He's a completely different person. That I know for a fact. I used to always get them confused.
Oh yeah, me too.
Two completely different people.
Oh well, my apologies, Steve-O Supremo. My apologies, Steve-O's Customs, and thank you, Bash, for. I hate to spread bad information, so I always like people to point it out when I'm wrong. I was wrong. People say I never say I was wrong. Hey, I was wrong. There you go.
I've been told the same.
I said it like a few times in the last few days. So
yeah, I've been told I was a narcissist out of all things. I was shocked when I heard that. I was like, really? I'm the last person.
You're one of the most caring people I know, Bash. It's people just say stuff. The Twitter's a cesspool, and if you let those people, they'll drag you down. So far, I've resisted, but I think I just need to stop responding to the randos. Other than, as I mentioned to you backstage, there is one rando I really like. That's Rando Commando. I think it's 24 is his handle. Randon McMahon. He's awesome. He's been on the show. But that might be the only rando I talk to anymore on Twitter.
I had a tweet that got
I
had a tweet that got like 100 responses. Most of them were bad. Some of them, a lot of them were just saying a lot of personal things about me. I didn't even bother respond. And there were so many comments on it. I didn't even read them because I was just like, this is stupid. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to waste my time with it. So I probably responded to like 2 or 3 people tops, and that was it. And I just left the tweet alone, and I didn't even look at it. So best thing to do is not respond.
There you go. Just rise above, Bash. Rise above. Be the bigger man. That's not hard for us to be the bigger man. Let's face it.
I'm built like an NFL nose tackle.
We are 2 of the bigger streamers out there. Us and maybe Brad Graham. Jesse's a pretty big guy, but not quite in our. He's a tier below.
He's probably like a linebacker or a tight end, maybe.
Yeah. Donald Trump says, I just pray that Purdy doesn't get injured. Yeah, we all pray that. Yeah, and it was Randy was saying it's true though. Watt wasn't smart to go for the strip sack. Purdy could have been killed. Oh, if he wasn't smart enough to, yeah, I know he could have totally lit Purdy up, but he played, the way you want your DN to play. First of all, to go for the turnover, but also not to try and injure people. That's the way you hope people will play, but it's definitely not always the case. So
I thought that was pretty funny when TJ Watt was fighting for that ball with Purdy though. It wasn't. I don't want to call it the butt fumble, but it was just so funny that
it was just above the butt recovery though. Yeah, it was the small of the back.
And when I saw the play happen, I was like, oh damn, these jackasses are challenging it and trying to say that they got the ball, and then the pile or whatever. And then the moment I saw the first replay, I was like, okay, I have it's going to be very hard for me to see that the replay booth is going to overturn this because the angles aren't that good. I mean, you have to have a clear view of who has the ball, and there's no way you from what was going on that you could see that the Steelers ever had a clear grasp of that ball. So it's good. Thank God that went our way, and it didn't really matter too much because we won by a lot, but it was nice for us to get that fumble back.
There you go. Got NFL reality check in the house. Thanks for joining. Doing well, brother. Better now that you're here for sure. Randy says Lamar's fields with better weapons. I don't know. Neither one has. Lamar didn't have great weapons for a long time other than Mark Andrews. But I think it looks like he does now with OBJ and Zay Flowers. And then obviously there was that other guy they had from a couple of years back from Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, the bigger receiver who's sort of been a little bit of a disappointment, but he could bust out at any time. Maybe he did this weekend. Honestly, I didn't pay much attention to the Ravens game. But I know they won. Purdy is not in the top 10. Be realistic. Do you think Purdy's in the top 10, Bash?
He can get there. I'm not going to say clear cut just yet because, I mean, I'd have to see how it plays out for the rest of the season to make that decision. But, I mean, he's on the rise. He's on the way up. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to get mad if somebody wants him to be top 10, though. I mean, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah. If they say he's like the 10th best in the league or whatever, I'm not going to argue with it or make a big stink about it. But hopefully he becomes that. Hopefully he becomes top 10, and then that means we should win a Super Bowl, right? Or we should be challenging to win Super Bowls every year in and year out with the defenses that we have
and the cost, like with the best value in the NFL. If he's top 10, that just makes him even better value because I have him best value in the NFL as mid. Whereas I've been saying repeatedly 14 to 18, and people are like, oh, Ted, did you see what Micah Parsons said? And I'm like, yeah, he said top 15. 15 is mid. It's average. It's middle of the pack. It's mediocre. All ways of saying the same thing. And they go, well, no, top 15 could be anything, Ted. Could be anything. I go, well, if you want to play that game, it could be 11 to 15. But if he's 10 or higher, then you're top 10. You're not top 15 anymore.
Okay. But I want to say this. I know you go back and forth with people a lot, and my stance is different. Okay, so if you're saying if people there's a consensus that Purdy's 15, then that means Jimmy was probably 25. Can we make that agreement?
Sorry, Jimmy's 25. I think Jimmy is like 20, 22. Yeah. 25
I'll say this.
Bother me. I think it's a little harsh just because here's the thing. 25 or 24 to 32 kind of turns over every year. So Jimmy, he's clearly a starter in this league. He is the lowest paid starting vet QB on a multi-year contract. So only rookie QBs or vets on 1-year contracts make less than 22 mil. But he's right around there. He's right around that 24 as far as pay goes. But I think there's some that make less that are not as good. So yeah, I'll say like I'm cool with like 20 to 25 any in there. I have troubles when you start getting into the teens with Jimmy. I don't think he's that good.
Yeah. So what I want to say was I was so used to watching. We were all accustomed to watching Jimmy G with these 49er games, and the argument was how dare you criticize Jimmy G? How dare you say he's not good? Blah 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 blah. Because he wins, all these wins. Well, guess what? When I watched the game, and when millions of other 49er fans were watching the game, yeah, there were wins. We were winning, but we were throwing our beer mugs across the room. We were breaking our TVs. We were punching walls because this guy was we're pulling our hair out. We were doing whatever we can to get our frustration out because Jimmy was driving us nuts during these games, that even in games we won. I felt like the rest of the team carried him the whole damn time. This past Sunday, I'm watching the Niner game. I'm having so much fun. I didn't complain about anything. It's beautiful. The offense It's a it's a fine-tuned machine or whatever. Everything's smooth. Now we're not sitting there launching 60-yard deep bombs down the field, or that, which I'd prefer to see. I love the deep ball, but other than that, the offense was running great and it's smooth and it's fine and it's methodical, you could say, but it's cool. That's how I want to win games. That to me, that's a real quarterback winning games, not this whole thing where everybody carries you. What's up, SG Sports Sox channel?
Shardal Gupta in the house.
Shardal is a Grant Cohn channel, Grant Cohn phone legend. Let's just say thank you.
Yeah, and then Randy's still going off about mobile QBs. He says,
"What did you
Josh
do to
Allen,
him? What did you do to Randy, man? What did you do? It's all your fault."
I mean, Josh Allen's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Don't overreact to week 1. Keep in mind that
everybody was trashing Josh Allen just because he has one bad game. Look at his resume.
He had a bad game. He has no run game. He a lot of times leads the Bills in rushing. He has basically one elite weapon, Stephon Diggs. The rest are, some of them are good, but none of them are elite. So, and some of that is because of what he gets paid, just what we were talking about earlier in the show. But regardless, Josh Allen is a very good quarterback. And if he were on our team, we would just absolutely destroy the league. Even Mahomes wouldn't stand a chance with Allen on the 49ers. I don't know how we'd afford it. Maybe for 1 year we could finagle it. But bottom line is it would be disgusting. It'd be so fun. I would just love it. But hey, you can't have everything, and I am happy with Purdy. And also, when people say I hate Purdy, like, keep in mind, I'm not saying he can't be great. He can. I just think it's very, very difficult given his physical limitations. But it's possible he could be great. He could be elite. He could be very good. He could be good. I think he's already on that kind of mid to good level. I mean, he definitely played better than good on Sunday. So keep that up, Purdy, and I'll change my. I'm not going to. Just because I said mid to start. That was all based mostly off 2022. If he does better in 2023, I'll be happy to change my evaluation. I new information, new opinion, I always say. James says Cowboy implosion coming. I sure hope so, but I don't see it. I got us and them in the NFC Championship game. I got basically 3 highlight games for us this year. Bash, it's the 3 Super Bowl contenders: Cowboys, Bengals, Eagles. Those are the 3. Like, if we win those, I'm going to start feeling pretty good about things.
Are you going to start feeling?
I'll celebrate the win, but I'm not going to be satisfied until we get a Super Bowl ring, and those 3 will be signs that we could actually, go all the way this year.
If we win those games, you're going to start feeling pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. No, and yeah, no. I mean, I like Brock. There's no. How can you not like him? Especially after having Jimmy G. He's so much more likable. He's cheaper. He's younger. He's at least a little bit better. He's a great leader. I mean, there's so much to like. I just want to keep liking him. I just don't want him to get hurt or fizzle out. And I don't think fizzle out is seeming real likely now. But again, here's the thing. On Sunday, 0 deep passes, 0 deep completions. So we still haven't seen enough to disprove what I said about his deep balls in camp. And so we'll see. As soon as he starts nailing those, man, he's going to have a believer out of me. And ultimately, all right, I've been saying, like, Super Bowl win or bust. That's really for Kyle. If Purdy just absolutely balls out and something happens, the defense falls apart or all the weapons get injured and he still plays great, like, hey, I'm not going to fault Brock if we don't win the Super Bowl. But, Kyle, he's got to win the Super Bowl or bust because he's in charge of the entire team. So that's where I am.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And I think, like, within these next 2 years, like, I'd love to win a Super Bowl. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. We have the roster to do so, and if we don't do it this year, if we just draft certain pieces that you need to replenish, I don't see why we wouldn't. It just pisses me off when there's certain holes on this team, offensive tackle, that the team does not bother to replenish. So whatever, man. Hopefully it doesn't affect us. It just worries me big time. That's all.
Beto in the house.
What up,
welcome, Beto? Thanks for joining us. He says, "Who gives an S about deep passes?" Look, if all the weapons stay healthy and we can build a wall for Purdy and he can play point guard, we could probably win without the deep pass. But if Debo gets hurt or CMC gets hurt or Kittle or Ayuk or more than one of them, it's like this whole thing of having all these weapons so you can't focus. If you can start focusing on 1 or 2 or 3 of them instead of 4 or 5, it gets a lot easier to defend this team. And deep ball just spreads out the field. It just allows for more yak, more runs, everything. So What do you think about the deep ball?
We should care a little bit because if there's a game where we can't run the ball properly, hey man, the deep ball should come into use. So it does matter.
And the deep
But yeah,
ball sets up the run game. Right.
Yeah, about the run game though, man. How about CMC, man?
CMC, huge game. Why do you think I wanted to see him with? I won't say his name because I'm trying not to bring him up anymore.
Well, people in the chat are bringing him up. I don't even want to bring him up, but everybody, people.
Yeah, Trey's gone. No need to bring him up anymore, folks. But they will. But that's all I'm just going to say anymore when people bring him up because I'm tired of dealing with it on the timeline. And I said I wouldn't bring it up, but people bring it up so much. I'm still talking about him every day. So
Rob D has a good question. Welcome to the channel, Rob D. We appreciate you watching.
Where is he down? Is he way at the bottom or?
He's on my chat. It'll show like a little it has a little thing next to his name. Yeah, towards the bottom, right above James Bernal. Right at towards the very bottom. Yeah.
Oh, Rob D. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Should we go for Lyle Collins? What do you think, Bash?
On name alone, yes. I've seen what he's done with the Cowboys and some of what he's done with the Bengals. Supposedly he has some injury issues. I know they let him go because he was on, I think he was on PUP or something like that, and he got released. But they should definitely take a look at it and see what's going on. I don't know if they've gotten on the phone with his agent or not. Who knows? One thing that I noticed though, whenever I bring up certain offensive line, like when I brought up DeJuan Jones on Twitter a few times, I'll get this huge backlash from people who just live and die by everything that Kyle stands for. Like, oh, well, we should have drafted that guy because he's not a scheme fit. And Kyle hates huge, powerful offensive linemen that are road graders. He likes small, athletic offensive linemen. It's like, dude, man, these guys that you say that Kyle hates, guess what? They're making Pro Bowls and all pros on other teams. And they're tossing pass rushers around like pancakes while our guys are getting fucking whipped and looking like a bunch of bitches. So I don't give a fuck if those guys don't fit Kyle's scheme or whatever. And it's these cookie cutter responses are so weak, dude. Think outside of the box. Seriously.
You know who doesn't fit Kyle's scheme? Matt Pryor, our backup tackle. You know who else doesn't fit it? Colton McKivitz, our starting right tackle, is not a good run blocker. That's Kyle's scheme. So yeah. But Lyle Collins, I think, yeah, the Cowboys let him go for injuries, and so do the Bengals. I'd say that's some red flags. I think I'd love to get some tackle depth, but I'm going to say shove all the chips in, get Tristan Wirfs from the Bucks, but they got to do some losing. They unfortunately won this week.
But why would the Bucks ever give him up, though, man? These guys come at a premium.
If they're taken, if they realize that they can't make the playoffs and they need to rebuild, and they need a QB, they realize Baker isn't the answer. Then you scrap what you got and you go big. But yeah, I mean, it would be tough. It'd be tough. But someone like him, somebody who's not just like off the scrap heap twice.
But you made an excellent point though. I was this close to responding to one of those jackasses on Twitter because they said, "Oh well, if we draft DeJuan Jones, he'd be terrible in the run game. All he'd do is pass block because he doesn't fit Kyle's scheme." Well, how many times did we run the ball to the right side in this last game? all the runs went to the left side of the field where Trent Williams was. So like you said, how does McKivitz fit our scheme? We can't even run the ball on this damn side. So it's like, hopefully McKivitz fixes it because we have no other choice right now unless we look for an upgrade somehow. But it's a crapshoot. It's a long shot in my opinion. Randy Daytona says Brendo was a beast this past Sunday. Do you agree?
Honestly, I think Trent Williams did well. I think Aaron Banks did fairly well. Yeah, Brendel did well. The concerns for me were Burford with the penalties and obviously McKivitz giving up 3 sacks, 2 of them leading to fumbles. But yeah, I mean, I'm not super worried about the O-line. I do trust Chris Forster. You know, our O-line typically starts slow at the beginning of the season. And I gave the 3 reasons why I thought McKivitz would improve with experience, with more reps with Bosa, and less reps against TJ Watt. All should bode well for Mr. Colton.
Yeah. And one more thing about DeJuan Jones. I hate to keep bringing this guy up, but I mean, I'm sorry, but if there's a guy, if that guy was tossing around Eagles pass rushers like they were nothing in the joint practices, that's somebody we should have gotten. Who do we suffer against in the playoffs? It's the Eagles, and our quarterbacks are getting broke like pretzels. So yeah, tell me I'm wrong again.
There you go. Randy says, but it's more than slotting. Slightly better player chemistry is a thing. It's not true. Runs were distributed evenly. He says we ran as much to the right as the left. I'm unaware, so I'm going to claim ignorance. I don't know. Obviously, the big
There
run
was
to
no
McCaffrey
success
was to the
on the
left.
right side running the ball. If you're saying they ran just as much, I didn't diagnose and count how many
Well,
times, but
who cares
eyeballing
how
it,
many times you
it
run
looked
there? It's
like
which side was
eyeballing it.
effective. McCaffrey's
Yeah,
big run was to the left, the 65-yard touchdown.
not just that run, multiple runs were
Yeah.
to the left. I mean, that were successful.
Yeah,
Those are
so
the
the
plays that
numbers
stick
may
out in
be
my head.
even, but the results aren't. So, okay.
So McCaffrey had an amazing game. Shout out to him. A lot of fans are worried that he's getting too many touches and we're not dispersing the carries. Elijah Mitchell played a little bit, but he didn't have success. Unfortunately, he didn't look too hot. He didn't look too great. Maybe he's still a little tender coming off the injury. I don't know. JP Mason didn't get any touches from what I understand. So we'll see. Hopefully the running backs can help out CMC, because I don't want to see him, get burnt out or anything like that.
No doubt. Silly Fungi with the dad joke. What do you call it? Dangerous precipitation? A rain of terror. Wah, wah, wah. Thanks, Silly. We love it. He's a cool Rams fan. He was on with Payo Time with me this morning. Really cool Rams fan. Funny dad jokes. Love to get your thoughts on the game this Sunday, Silly, if you want to chime in on some of that. James was asking Randy about the Vikings-Eagles score. Well, Vikings lost. The Eagles beat the Pats. The Vikings lost to no, it wasn't the Saints. It was, I forgot now. Maybe it was the Saints. No, I have to look it up. But in the meantime, let me hit the comments and go for it, Bash. Looks like Brendel has made a nice leap this offseason. We'll see. I mean, Cam Hayward went out in the second quarter. So if he had played the whole game and Brendel played well, I'd feel a lot more comfortable about it.
Brendel, I'm kind of like whatever about him so far, but I didn't. And keep in mind, I didn't sit there and diagnose the game and watch the film or anything like that. So I didn't see him do anything that I didn't like, so to speak. So that's good. But I'll take you guys' word for it that Brendel had a pretty good game. Because I didn't see anything with offensive line. A lot of times, if somebody will stand out like a sore thumb if they mess up really, really bad. But yeah, Brendel's okay. He's all right. I hope they said that he was working on his strength this offseason. Kind of wish he would have bulked up a little bit. He still looks very undersized compared to other NFL centers, but hopefully he has a good season though. Well, that's cool.
Oh, maybe he meant the Vikings-Eagles coming up game. They're playing this week.
Yeah, they're coming up this week. Yep.
There you go. Okay, but the Vikings lost to the Bucks. That was it. They lost to the Baker Mayfields and the disgruntled Mike Evans. Golden Dragon in number 5 in the house. Welcome, Golden Dragon. QB Brock Purdy just has up his mind up the Burford McKivitz misses blocks and then keep rolling to his left. Yeah, but that's what they're expecting too. So we can't be one-dimensional. But he did have a really nice rollout to the left after we all thought they'd have it scouted. He busted one and made a great throw. It was a thing of beauty. So hats off to Brock. Yeah.
I just want to shout out to Golden Dragon. Never seen him before, but welcome. What did he say? He had a comment. He said, Brock Purdy just to have it in his mind that Burford and McKivitz misses blocks.
Yeah, he needs to have a better internal clock, like I was saying earlier. You just gotta be like 1-2. You gotta at least take a look and see what's going on. Make sure you don't get creamed.
And how about that? So he mentioned rolling to the left. How about that? Was that throw to Ayuk? The one where he anticipated the blitzer on the corner, and then he had that guy spinning around on roller skates or whatever, and he ran out to the left hand side and threw that kind of sidearm, that little throw. Was that to Ayuk?
Yeah,
on that play. That was a really nice play, by the way.
So. I need to rewatch the game. I only got to like where I took some screen grabs of the first TD to Ayuk, and then I honestly haven't really rewatched the game.
That throw and the one to Ayuk on the corner of the end zone where he mossed or Ayuk to Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson was pretty much doing a pass interference on that play too. They didn't even bother to throw a flag, but those two were definitely Brock's best throws. So he had some nice throws.
Donald Johnson bringing up Drake Saxon.
Drake Saxon, 3 sacks.
The hat trick, 3 sacks, just as many as TJ Watt. I mean, you're just seeing the advantage of having Javon Hargrave there already. Bosa gets a lot of attention. Javon gets a lot of attention. Armstead still gets a little bit more, and Drake Jackson's up one-on-one almost every down. That's a huge advantage for him. So go Drake Jackson. Keep it up.
Yeah. Javon Hargrave had a sack, I believe in the fourth quarter. But before that, I definitely noticed that he was doing some nice I keep calling them swims. What do they call it when they stunts? They call them stunts.
Stunts. Yeah, when
He was
this
doing some stunts with Armstead, and he was definitely making his presence felt, but he was getting in the backfield, so he did a good job.
got Crazy Juice saying Buccaneers. There you go, Crazy Juice.
Crazy. I don't know why I say Buccaneers. Maybe he's talking about who the Vikings were playing.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
must have been. I'm a little
that's
behind
probably
in
what
the
it
chat
was.
again. Not too far. I just got to keep scrolling here. So yeah, could be 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. here. Randy says.
Rob D said something funny about the Rams rookie wide receivers, because they got Tutu
Puka,
Atwell and Puka Nakua. And
Puka
Puka was a guy that I was looking at that I thought maybe would be kind of cool guy to draft, because coming out of BYU, he looked pretty successful. So he said we're gonna shut down all that baby babble talk this Sunday. Tutu and Puka sounds like a 6-month-old. they both had over 100 yards in their first games, man. So that's pretty damn good for a rookie wide receiver duo, especially since Cooper Kupp was out. So Cooper Kupp obviously still going to be out. Matthew Stafford's threw for over 300 yards. 330 yards, that is. So it's not like Stafford's going anywhere. I still think he's a pretty damn good quarterback. And sure, we overpower the Rams in many aspects of the game, but I don't want to take them too lightly. You know what I mean?
No, of course not. Yeah, Puka Nakua and Tutu Atwell. I think that's at least 4 U's between their two names. That's pretty unusual.
A lot of U's there.
Donald Johnson saying Purdy is young. That will come with more experience. I mean, you assume that, but there's just no guarantees. We've seen so many quarterbacks not develop with Kyle. I mean, I could pretty much say not any of his quarterbacks have developed here in San Francisco. So, except for, Trey going to see Jeff Christensen and Mahomes on his own, then he developed some. But yeah, I hope Purdy. It's reasonable to assume that. I think it's less likely that he won't, but he could plateau. He could regress. All those things are possible. So, just don't say they will do that. Just say they should, or the likely. Things like that make more sense to me. Anyway, that's what I do. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but that's how I feel. Oh, 2 or 3 on Stafford. That'd be great. Oh my God. Can you imagine if he had 6 sacks in 2 games? People would be going bananas.
I think we're going to get more sacks in this upcoming game, man. That Rams O-line is trash to me. So
it is. And it's going to be a home game for us. They're saying 66% Niner fans, 34% Rams fans. And that's another reason why I expect McKivitz to get better is, Pittsburgh Stadium is not a friendly place to be. Whereas, Levi's South is. So we'll have home field advantage as far as crowd noise goes at Levi's South. So that should help him to do a little bit better too.
But speaking of the crowd of Pittsburgh, Niner fans were rolling deep in Pittsburgh, man. It's normally a hostile environment, you can say, but we made it a friendly environment, man. When we were scoring touchdowns and getting sacks, you could hear that crowd cheering. Towards the end of the game, you could hear the "Let's Go Niners" chant. So yeah, man, those Niner fans, some of them were content creators that were out there too that we know, John V and Jesse Naylor and John Chapman, Wayne Breezy, Terradome, Ty Alston. I can go on. All those guys were out there, and they rolled deep, man. They brought it in Pittsburgh. So shout out to all those guys and all the other Niner fans that traveled, man. And we're gonna travel again, obviously, this Sunday, SoFi. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Levi South.
Silly fun guy picking us. I like it. He says 28-24 Niners with CMC being the game breaker, just like last year, week 8. That was coincidentally the week that next week when I had my first show with Aaron on a Wednesday, and that's been our regular thing ever since. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I could see CMC breaking it. I could see Debo. Those are my 2. I said Debo 2 TDs because he's kind of a Rams killer too, but we'll see. Real quick, I want to get to James Dernal. Broke down some bars here, so I think we got to at least honor that. He says, Brock throws the rock. He dances around while the O-line blocks. Touchdown here, touchdown there. Yeah, you should see he's packing in his underwear.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, maybe I should.
Come on, James. Come on, guy. What are you doing here?
No,
baby. It's funny, though. It's funny.
Rock
funny,
out
though.
with your Brock out. You got to do it. So
James Dernal from the UK.
There you go. I like it. That's good. You made me blush, though. That's good, too. Stafford can throw it almost anywhere. Yeah, Stafford's a really good QB. I think he's top 10.
I wish we would have gotten him when he was available. We'd have won.
I think we would have won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
That's one of Kyle's QB gaffes. No Mahomes, no Brady, no Stafford.
I hate to
third
go
QB
down that
start last
road. I hate to
season.
go down that road and point the finger, but it is what it is.
Unless you think Purdy was our third best QB in 2022, that was a mistake too. So, when everybody says Kyle knows best, like, not with QBs and not with third round picks, not named Fred. No. Although at least Moody was perfect in the game, so that's good.
There you go. Yeah, Moody after that dismal preseason, he finally got out of his shell. Maybe he just got all the anxiety and all the nerves out finally. I don't know what he did. Maybe he saw a therapist, or maybe he had a good, I don't know, whatever he did. Maybe he smoked some weed.
He's just a gamer,
maybe he smoked some weed. I don't know. Whatever he did, keep doing it so we can keep making field goals and not have to worry about the kicker. And hopefully, I believe they were saying that Moody's going to go back to kickoff duties this game, hopefully, because Wisnowski sucks at kickoffs. They're getting all these big returns. He never kicks anything to the back of the end zone. But Wisnowski was really, really nice on punts. He kept pinning them within the 10-yard line. So in general, the special teams was good overall, except for on the kickoff team.
There you go. Donald's asking Beto who all the most sacks this week. I'm just trying to keep up, so I'm not going to scroll back.
Yeah, a lot of comments, man. So appreciate you guys for coming out. Yeah. Randy Daytona did mention well, actually, Drake Saxon played at USC. Yeah. It's gonna be a homecoming game for him, pretty much.
Yeah, USC.
Yep, there you go. But shout out to Clelin Ferrell, who I liked a lot.
Jersey on underneath.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Clelin Ferrell, who I liked a lot coming out of college, out of Clemson. And so every time I said he was good coming out of college, Somi would always tell me he plays on an all-star defensive line. He would always tell me he wasn't that great. But anyways, at the end of the day, Clelin Ferrell did play for the Raiders, and he wasn't so special with the Raiders. And it happens a lot to a lot of people that do play for the Raiders. I get it. He's on the Niners now. Chris Kocurik's one of the best D-line coaches. I had the pleasure of meeting him, actually. Really, really nice guy, humble guy. And hopefully, so far, so good with him. He looked really nice in game one. And I'd like to see a lot more from Clelin Ferrell. Austin Bryant was activated as well, even though we had released him. We brought him back, and he's a part of the pass rush as well. In general, as a collective group, the pass rush is really nice, and just wait for Bosa to come alive against the Rams. That's all I gotta say.
So I'm not counting on Bosa this week. I think it's gonna take 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm thinking. So what do we got? We got Rams. We got Cards. Or no, Giants, Cards. So somewhere on Cards, or hopefully by Cowboys week 5. That's when I really want Bosa. And I think it's reasonable to assume that he'll be 100% by then. And by the same thing, McKivitz and Trent Williams will have their calluses too from going against them. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm getting kind of 2019 vibes about this D-line. I said all off season, I thought Hargrave could be Charles Haley 2.0, but in a good way. Haley was a Niners killer when he went to the Cowboys. They won 3 Super Bowls with him. We only got the one, the third of the 4 when we got Dion for 94-95 Super Bowl there. I think Javon can be a Eagles killer for us. So I think those Drake Jackson sacks were a direct reflection of all the attention that Hargrave and Bosa require from any smart offensive coordinator. You got to devote a lot of resources to slowing those 2 cats down. And it's going to open things up for Armstead and Drake Jackson by a lot, I think.
I want a Bosa. That was a Joey Mahoney quote, if you guys know who he is. But yeah, I mean, I still see a Sackaroonie, as Bosa says, a Sackaroonie coming for Bosa this Sunday, getting one. So Red Jet
says not the underwear.
Yeah, she's
real quick. Also, want to take a quick break again. Encourage people on Bash's channel. Give me a like and subscribe on TED Talks Ball. People on TED Talks Ball, pop over to Bash's channel, like and subscribe there. Like I said, if you're on a browser, open up 2 tabs. If you're on a phone, grab a tablet, and get the dual streaming going. It really helps us. So thanks in advance, everyone, for that.
I don't know. Did you lose any viewers today? You said you lost all these subscribers and all these Twitter followers.
Oh yeah, my views are down too. Yeah, no, I've gotten hammered this week. I mean, I get it. Look, everybody's happy. It was a big win. And they just want to be happy. And I'm like going, I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that. I'm not a hater. I really like Purdy. I just have doubts. And it's going to take, Aaron said it yesterday on our show together on First and Ted. He said he wants to see a full year at least before he crowns Purdy. And that's where I am. Purdy seems to be on his way. I just, if he gets hurt, we got to put in Darnold. That's one thing I'm bummed about. Or if he regresses. Or if other people around him get hurt and he can't, have all the best group of weapons in the NFL, or the defense gets hurt and they can't just, stifle everybody, then I start to have more concerns. But, for now, let's be happy. We beat the Steelers we got an opening day win, which is rare for us. Let's just keep it going and build on the momentum. 20-0. Here we go. Woo! Let's go.
Hey, rhymes. Hey. Yeah. How about you mentioned Fred Warner's hit on Najee Harris. In general, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw are tearing shit up. Fred Warner in coverage is just incredible. I know Bowman and Willis were an amazing duo for us, but I don't remember Bowman and Willis blanketing people to the level that Warner does. Now, if you want to get mad at me or whatever, go right ahead. But I'm just saying, it's just
Fred was the first. He was the first to be that elite at it because he's a converted safety. That's why.
He is. Yeah, he was a lot smaller too when we first got him too. He bulked up a little bit when we got him. He's a pretty big dude. So
Donald Johnson says, "Doesn't Lynch pick the defense, not Kyle?" I think there's some to that. I think Adam Peters does, but ultimately Kyle has final say on all personnel decisions. So if he wants to get involved and make it his decision, he can. There's no way. There's no way that Lynch or Peters can say we're taking this guy and Kyle can't veto it. There's no position that I'm aware of, and especially QB and wide receiver. Those Kyle for sure, is going to have a lot of say in those.
And speaking of wide receiver, did we see Ronnie Bell get any touches in this game? I believe he was active this past game too. But
they kept the starters in way too long. I was tweeting towards the end of the game.
They did. You're right.
I was like, why is Trent Williams in? Why is Purdy in? Why is CMC in? They at least got Kittle out and started some of the more backup.
Why was Bosa in? Bosa for somebody who I thought was going to get be on a snap count, and I guess he sort of was, but it felt
I think he got 35 snaps, which is about half, I think.
It felt like he was out there as much as I normally saw him. And I guess I'm wrong, but I know I saw him in there in the fourth quarter. I'm like, whoa, yeah, it was very questionable in terms of the game being out of reach, and yet certain starters are just sitting there playing in the fourth quarter. But knock on wood, no significant injuries, so that's good. What's James Renal saying?
He's comparing Hargrave and Bosa to the Smith brothers. Justin and Alden Smith. There's some parallels there. We talked about that this offseason, some, no doubt about it. Fired Up says Hargrave and Armstead were destroying the pocket. Yeah, and then it was like the Wolves to the Hunters. They were the Wolves chasing Pickett to the Hunter, who was basically mostly Drake Jackson, Saxon Jackson.
Jackson.
Red Jet says, Ted, you're the best. No one can ever take that from you, no matter how many subs, followers. Thank you. Yeah, I'm always tell the truth. If it hurts me, so be it. If it helps me, great. But that's just who I am. You can always count on me with unvarnished opinions. No clickbait. I've been accused of it so many times. I've only ever done clickbait once. It was literally because I was accused of it so many times. I wanted to see what it felt like, and I saw a perfect opportunity. There was a tweet about the Iowa State Cyclones, Brock Purdy's alma mater. There was a big gambling scandal. 4 players involved. One of them was named Isaiah Brock. So I took the Brock and I said, Brock accused or convicted of gambling at Iowa State. And everybody thought I meant Brock Purdy, but it was just, and that's the only time I've ever done clickbait, literally once. And I'm like, hey, folks, careful what you wish for. If you accuse me of something long enough and don't feel like no matter what I can do, you're going to just keep saying it, I might just start doing it. So just keep that in mind. Careful what you wish for. Also, as a Brock Purdy hater, I don't hate Purdy, but people attacking me about it could make me hate him. I'll tell you, it's possible. So I say I like Brock Purdy a lot. I just hate the hyperbole and those people who peddle the hyperbole. Anyway, it probably could never happen because I'm tough. But man, it's tempting sometimes because I'm just like, what's the point if everybody? Because I know the reason why I don't is because I know there are people that aren't chiming in and that do believe in me, and so thank you to all those people.
So Panama Queen mentioned something about, because we were talking about Ronnie Bell, whether or not we're going to see him play this Sunday. Panama said that he did play in the one play. At least she saw him at least in one play. Okay, that's good to know that he stepped on the field a little bit. Okay, hopefully we see more of him.
McNiner says Lambs are cooked. Let's hope so. They definitely played better than we expected against the Seahawks. Now, with the Seahawks game, let's keep in mind that Cross and Lucas, they're starting right and left tackle, both left the game and didn't come back. And Devin Witherspoon, their top 5 pick at cornerback, never even suited up. So it's probably not the Seahawks team. We'll see later, assuming that Cross and Lucas do make it back. I don't know the extent of their injuries or the prognosis, time frame of how long they're supposed to be out. But if they do make it back and Devin Witherspoon does, you can assume that they'll be a much tougher team for when they get those three players back.
Let me ask you this, Ted, because I'm trying to make sense of this, and I can't necessarily do so at this point in time. Is there anybody other than Aaron Donald on this Rams defense that worries you or scares you?
I'm not scared, but they have some other good players. I think there's like Ernest Jones as a linebacker. He was kind of coming up over the last few years. I think that's why they let Bobby Wagner walk. I think he's good. I don't think he's like very good, maybe, or great. But I think he's good. I know John Johnson, the safety who went to the Browns and came back. I remember giving Rams fans a lot of grief when he left. And they're like, oh, we don't need him. We don't need him. Well, I guess they did need him because they got him back. But no, there's not a lot of Rams. I guess there's this other linebacker, Troy Reader, that they like, but I thought we abused him in the run game. Or in the pass game, like with Debo and stuff. But there's somebody else named AJ that Payo time. Like, look up the initials AJ on the Rams roster. I think it's a linebacker or a D lineman that they like. But no, there's not much. They don't sweat their DNs. Aaron Donald's a menace. The thing I worry about Aaron Donald, though, is like we had Daniel Brunskill was our Aaron Donald killer, neutralizer, if not killer, right? A neutralizer. And now Brunskill is a Titan. So I don't know if Burford can hold up against Aaron Donald. And we know McKivitz, if he's lined up on that side, it's going to be a struggle too. Here I am saying we got rid of TJ Watt and you got Aaron Donald, who's arguably, just as good, just more of a D tackle than a DN, but he does play the DN some. We've seen him out there. So that could be kind of scary. Got Laura Cat in the house. What's up? She says, sweet visor, Ted. Thanks, Laura Cat. This is my Bash visor because he usually wears the saloon font hat. And this is my most saloon font visor. I have one with an SF here and a 49ers saloon font here. But this is usually my Bash one. I try to save this one for
not like I created it or something.
When I'm doing the rotation, I'll hold it out, even if it's I'll make it wait a little bit in the batter's box, so it's ready for game time with Bash. Oh, you're on mute, Bash. You're on mute, Bash.
Oh, sorry. I was saying I have a lot of Niner hats, and most of them are older. And this one I like the best, but the other one I do have, I wear it once in a while. It just has the plain SF, but there's plenty of hats that I need to get though. I need to step up my hat game. But this hat as a charm works like a charm for me. I love it for whatever reason.
Queen says, I saw Ronnie Bell on one play. Well, there you go. I guess
I mentioned that. And I looked at the Rams depth chart. I don't see anybody named AJ on defense. I saw one guy as an offensive lineman. That's an AJ.
Oh, yeah, that must be it that they like. He's, I guess, he didn't play last year. Mm-hmm. What's his name?
But he doesn't start though. It's there's Alaric Jackson. He's a backup.
Yes, that's lineman. Him. Alaric Jackson.
He's not a starter. But he might play because Joe Noteboom, who in my opinion wasn't any good, is questionable for the game. So
Randy's saying Rams are terrible. I mean, we all thought that. I've been saying that, hey, they're going to finally run it back. Not the Super Bowl, but they'd run back 5-12, which they were in 2022. But I'll tell you, folks, I talked to a couple of draft scouts this offseason, and both of them said the same thing, that they still thought like the Niners were the best and the Seahawks were close, but that the Rams probably wouldn't come out of the West or go to the playoffs, but they would make it tough on our two teams. And sure enough, they made it real tough on the Seahawks. They beat them on Sunday. So again, I mentioned the Seahawks were missing a few studs, but I think we might have written off the Rams a little too soon. I'm not saying we can't beat them or to worry too much, but I don't know if I would say they're terrible. You just got to see each year is different. And one reason they were terrible last year was they had incredible injuries on their O-line. They had 8, 10, 12 different lineups they ran on their O-line. And one thing is, even if you have good linemen, if you're swapping them all around, there's no continuity. That good O-linemen are going to look worse when they don't know what the guy next to them is prone to do.
There was something I wanted to say. I can't remember now. It totally slipped my mind.
Red Jet wants to see us on the ticket. Team 24, 2024.
Oh, ticket for what?
Who's president? Who's VP though?
No, I don't do politics. Not me.
No, me neither. I said the only way I'd run is if I was independent. because I think that both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party are both corrupt, and they don't
I
care
agree.
about their
I agree.
constituents any more than like a farmer or a rancher cares about their livestock. They're just counting heads. That's all they're doing. They don't give a rat's about our future. And most of them are too old to care. Like, did you see that video of Mitch McConnell who's saying like, and we know Biden
No,
is
people were
half
making fun of
asleep, and
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. I didn't
Nancy
think it was that big of a
Pelosi.
deal.
I
Was
mean,
it Kamala
geez,
Harris was in the
these people,
backyard?
they could croak any minute, and they're deciding our future. It's
No,
crazy.
well, you're talking about the old people. I'm just saying
Yeah,
in general. I'm just saying, in general, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but people were ragging on her for it, and I thought she was just having a good time. Even though I'm not a huge fan of that, the presidency or whatever vice presidency. But just to bring this up, they had like some type of hip hop party in the White House or something. I know Lil Wayne performed, and then they had some DJ going on, and Kamala Harris was dancing to this not Tribe Called Quest, well the rapper from Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, the song Vibrant Thing, and it was a viral video on Twitter. People were like, oh, why is she dancing to some rap song, blah blah blah, for the 50th anniversary hip hop party? Shouldn't she be caring about what's going on in Maui? And people were ragging on her for it, but I was like, oh, whatever, let her have a good time. But I don't know, I just don't get involved in politics anymore. Like you said, both parties piss me off, and it is what it is with politics these days. But I do remember the point I wanted to say about the Rams playing the Seahawks, though.
mm-hmm.
There are divisional trap games that we are well aware of. So it's really really hard to gauge how good or how bad the Seahawks are right now. And the same goes with the Rams, even though the Rams roster isn't really all that impressive. But at the end of the day, we just have to win these games when we face these teams. We can't get stuck in that trap game BS that other teams do.
I think Randy's calling me Spicoli in Daytona in 24.
Spicoli,
What's up,
isn't that the
Mr.
guy? Spicoli, isn't that the guy from Fast Times at Ridgemont
Fast
High?
times,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. What was his name?
Classic.
Sean Penn.
Sean Penn.
There you
Yeah.
go. Wow.
Mr. Hand, you're such a dick.
You know what? That movie was going on when I was a little kid. I never saw it all the way through. I just saw little bits and pieces of it.
I don't hear you unless you knock. So many classic lines from that movie. If you haven't seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, make sure you check it out. Great coming of age movie from the middle of the 80s.
I love 80s comedies, though, man.
God,
They're so fun.
good.
And some of the 90s comedies, too.
Spicoli. Let
I
me
mean,
just
if
real
somebody
quick.
do this for me, if anybody in the chat knows of a good comedy that came out within the past 5 to 10 years, drop me how many titles that you could come up with, because I would love to catch up on some good, funny movies.
There you go. There you go. Nancy Cameron in the house. Thanks, Nancy, for joining. Yeah, we had the early start. We usually start at 3, but I have a funeral service tomorrow for someone from Mid Peninsula where I grew up. I was saying at the beginning of the show, when you get to be over 50, your friends' parents start to pass away, and so I've had a couple. My best buddy, who I go to all the Niner games, or not all, but most of the Niner games with, his dad died a few weeks ago, and then another family friend of ours, their mom passed away. But we can catch up about the other time. I don't want to be a downer on the show here. But it's life. These things happen, and again, I'm keeping it real. That's me. I'm not going to sugarcoat things or say everything's rainbows and unicorns. You gotta take the good with the bad, or the bad with the good. But those low times make the highs feel so much better. So, feel it all, enjoy it, and just know it's all part of life, and try not to block it out, because that's unhealthy. It just leads to bigger problems down the road. What else we got? So we got Randy saying, please watch it on most streaming services. I think he's talking about Fast Times. Yeah, it's absolute classic. Judge Reinhold, Phoebe Cates. So many big stars in that movie. It was a real coming of age movie. Very awkward at points, but it's kind of like American Pie. Before American Pie, there's just a lot of similarities there, I would say. But Fast Times is a classic for sure. And there's some good football stuff in it. when they take the football player's car out, I won't say what happens, but very funny scene.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, I won't.
It's an old movie, though.
We don't want to spoil it. No spoilers, not for football, not for movies. We'll try not to. Thanks, Red Jet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it is. It is. I know Nancy's parents have passed away too. So it's tough for sure. Thanks, Laura Cat. Again, I don't want to dwell too much on stuff like that. But Bash, what else did you want to talk about? We talked a little bit about the Steelers. We talked a little bit about, well, not that much about the Rams. I mean, do you have a prediction for this weekend?
Okay. There wasn't much for me to talk about. I thought we covered everything, but I do have a prediction, and we can talk about player predictions as well. 35-13 is my score prediction, obviously 49ers. And first touchdown scored by the San Francisco 49ers will be by Deebo Samuel.
There you go. I got him scoring too. That was sort of my hot take with Ryan from No Border Sports on Tuesday. He asked me for a hot take. I mean, it's not that hot because Deebo's kind of a Rams killer.
Well, Deebo's not a hot take, but I just this is my first touchdown prediction. That's all.
Oh, good. I like it. Well, that'll help him to get two if he gets the first one. Then he's more likely to get a second that way, obviously. So we're like minds on that. Anything else that you want to go over while we're here today? I feel like we didn't cover everything, but if anybody in the chat,
nothing that's on my mind. But yeah, you mentioned the chat. If they have any ideas, they can go ahead and drop them.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, again to recap, like, hey, I like Brock Purdy a lot. There's a lot to like. He's a mental giant. I just wish he had an elite physical trait other than quickness. He can be great. I'm just not ready to call him great yet. I just don't like the comparisons where people, comparing him to Montana, Brady, Mahomes, now Josh Allen, the most recent one. There was a poll that Grant ran where people said that he was a better quarterback than Josh Allen. It's just like, come on, people. Josh Allen is like, if he's not 2 in the league, he's 3 or at the worst 4. I mean, and Purdy, we're having trouble putting him in the top 10. So, I mean, you got to remember what they have on their team. Like, if you put Josh Allen on our team, we would crush. If you put Purdy on the Bills, they would do nothing. They have no run game. They only have one elite weapon. Their defense is good, but not nearly as good as the Niners. So,
yeah, I'm not going to say the guy's name, but there's some guy out there who thinks that Brock Purdy is the best quarterback in the league. Like, slow down. I don't know how else I could say it. There's a few songs that say slow down, and I'm not going to sing them or anything like that, but let's slow down. Let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. I told everybody I don't know. I think there were some people that may have assumed I was a Purdy hater too, and I never ever said I once hated him. I didn't hate Jimmy. Yes, Jimmy at points in times got to the point where I started hating him. I'll never ever go back on that. But I never ever said I hated Purdy, and I like what I see so far. Sure, I prefer QBs more so with an elite skill set, but at the end of the day, he's who we have, so we're rolling with that. And so far, saying earlier, I think he does kind of have like an elite mindset at quarterback, so to speak. And he's not 100% perfect, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, we're gonna enjoy the ride with Purdy, see what we can do with him. It looks a lot. Again, I'm sitting back watching the games. I'm having fun. I'm not stressing. The stress came when Jimmy was playing, even though we were winning. So with this amazing defense, with these amazing playmakers, going to say it once again, that sure, we can probably go to the promised land with them. I'm not guaranteeing anything. So if we don't do it, don't get mad at me. But, on paper or just at least what I see so far, it looks promising.
I was just going through my timeline a little bit, and I got into an argument today with a lot of people about, they're asking me, would Joe Montana be great in today's game? And I said, I think he'd be good to very good. But the reason I didn't say great or elite is because I look at the elite quarterbacks of today, and none of them are like Joe Montana. And they're like, well, I'm like, you know what? The rules were very, very different back then. They've changed a lot. And so with that, defenses have changed a lot. And I said, back in the day, in the 80s, there were no linebackers, just like we talked about earlier in the show, like Fred and Dre. And now they're not the only linebackers who are great in coverage. There's at least 5 to 10 that are outstanding elite coverage linebackers, but Fred was kind of the first of this era. So, yeah, so I got in a lot of trouble and people were coming after me for it. But, again, I'm going to speak my truth. I think that if Montana had protection rules like Brady had back in the 80s, I think he would have won 7 or more Super Bowls. So that's where I think he would win 7. I don't think he'd win 7 today. And people are saying, well, if he's on the Niners, I'm like, well, the Niners have literally the cushiest QB job in the NFL. When you've got the best group of weapons in football, you got a solid line. At least it was in 2022. I don't really think it's going to be a huge problem in 2020. Or we had it in 2022. They were solid. Obviously struggled week 1, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue for the whole season. And you got the number 1 D in the NFL. It looks like maybe even got better. And then, Kyle designing and calling the plays. As much as I bag on Kyle for QB and any third round pick not named Fred. Like the guy is a genius when it comes to designing and calling plays. So like if you drop Joe on a different team, I don't know, like say a team like kind of like the 81 Niners, where it was like a number 2D and no elite weapons. Maybe you could call Dwight Clark elite. I hesitate to do that. So I don't know. But I mean, a lot of people think Joe would be great now, assuming that he was young, just like say he was just drafted to the NFL.
Well, Joe had some mobility when he first came into the league. He never had the strongest arm, but he had a decent deep ball. He had excellent deep ball accuracy. We all know how great he was at processing things, so I think it would have been pretty good. I don't know how good. We'll never know. What up, Master of Any Craft is a good friend of mine over in Texas. Good friend of my brother. Actually, I met him through my brother.
I think we have a real good shot at the Super Bowl if we stay healthy. If we're healthy and Brock's playing at 2022 levels or better, I think there's very few teams that I would pick to beat us. But the chances of being as healthy as we were in 2022, I think we've talked about this, where, our team was basically essentially healthy to start the 2022 season, other than QB. We were missing Lance and Jimmy. But if Purdy stays healthy, I'm arguing we don't miss those two guys. We're missing E-Man, but Lenore arguably played better than Charvarius Ward in the playoffs. So I'm saying we don't really miss E-Man that much either. So like we're basically almost 100% healthy if Purdy stays healthy. And I just don't see us being that healthy in 2023 playoffs with all this travel and lack of rest days, much tougher schedule, 4 teams that we play coming off buys. There's just a lot of reasons why I think this season's going to be a lot tougher than 2022.
I was going to say something. You get talking. Sorry, it's all good.
I hate when that happens. They'll butt in next time. Don't worry.
I didn't want to butt in.
Well, I appreciate that. So Master was saying that he didn't have any off-season training program. Yeah, we go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he did though get cleared in late July and was available for all of camp, other than a couple of rest days, or maybe 3 rest days. I think he and CMC took 3 rest days, but the third one was different. CMC took his early, and that was why Trey actually did get a few reps with CMC in camp, but still never got any in games. See what else we got to say. If Purdy works on his arm strength in the offseason, he'll go to the next level. Right now, he has great QB instincts. Yeah, I mean, even if his arm strength doesn't improve, he can just hit deep balls with his arm strength. It's just, for me, people go, oh, well, you don't need the deep ball. But, it's not just the deep ball that you're lacking when you're limited in arm strength. It's the deep ball. It's off platform throws with zip, and it's stepping into the ball with like super zip to throw it into tight windows before a defender can react and recover. And so there's actually 3 things that you lack with a limited arm. And I think
the throw to Ayuk though in the end zone where Peterson blanketed him or pass interference him or whatever, that wasn't a tight window though.
It was not a big window for sure. Peterson was kind of right there, but he was out of position a little. I mean, he kind of got his hand there.
He kind of passed it. He kind of PI'd him though. I mean, if he said,
he wasn't. Pat Pete, in my opinion, is washed. Cards let him walk. The Vikings let him walk. Great corners don't get. You don't get them off the street.
Did you see the conversation where they were mic'd up, where you could hear them, Patrick Peterson and Brock Purdy congratulating each other after the game? Did you see that?
I guess there's one I can think of. DJ Reed, from the Seahawks let him go for money, and the Jets got him, but that was a lot of money, a lot more than Pat Pete's making. I'll just say that. So there may be a few. That's more like the exception to the rule. I'm sorry. Can you ask the question again, Bash? I was in the middle of that thought.
Oh, okay, no problem. I was saying, did you see the conversation with Patrick Peterson and Brock Purdy after the game when they were on the field?
No,
there was a video circulating on Twitter. It was pretty cool, actually. It was pretty cool. Patrick Peterson was humble, and he had some good words for Purdy. It was really nice, actually.
Did you hear the conversation that Mike Tomlin had with the Steelers in the locker room after the game?
I missed that. How'd that go?
He basically told them, hey, guys, y'all need to give all your game checks to TJ Watt because he's the only SOB who showed up today.
You know what? I heard somebody utter something about. I heard a little about that. I didn't know the whole story behind that though. So thanks for clearing that up for me. That is pretty funny though.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought. That Steelers they laid down. They did not look like a playoff team on Sunday. And maybe
it's just because we were so good.
Defense are just that good that we're just going to dog walk playoff teams. But like I said, there's only 3 on the schedule where I'm going to be really impressed if we really dominate a team. And those are Cowboys, Bengals, and Eagles. The rest, I think, are all dominatable by this squad if we stay healthy.
I'll say this though,
and keep improving, especially the youngsters.
I read Kyle for the whole thing about not getting a solid replacement on the offensive line, but in general, Kyle had this team ready on Sunday. I'll say that. So hopefully we see more of that throughout the season, and hopefully we see it throughout the playoffs. You know, Master Andy Crowley said in the old days you could destroy the quarterback, and
Yep.
Montana took a lot of big hits that kept the Niners from winning more. So, oh yeah, Montana took the biggest hits, dude.
That's awesome. Yeah, it'd be like 2 seconds after the play, and they'd like pile drive him into the grass or into the artificial turf. Back when turf was just like carpet over cement, and yeah, I mean, as much as I like Brock, he would not hold up. It would not have held up in the mid '80s. He would have been destroyed. Montana, he was a tough SOB. Whatever you want to say about him, incredible in that way. Rick Diaz in the house. He says, "I like your show. It's good. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. It means a lot to me and to Bash to support both of our channels. Like I said earlier, if you're on my channel, hop on over to 49er Minded. Give him a like and subscribe. Same thing. If you're on his channel, do the same for me. If you're got a browser open 2 tabs, watch us both at the same time. Just turn the volume down on one, obviously. And then if you're on a phone, you can always use a second device like a tablet or another phone. Randy says Super Bowl usually broke by rookie on QB contracts lately. Name some, Randy. I don't recall any Super Bowls run by rookies on QB contracts. I don't. In fact, no rookie's ever been to a Super Bowl. A QB, let alone
no. The rookie, the quarterbacks who won on rookie contracts, Mahomes and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and I think Breeze was too. I'm pretty sure once Breeze got paid, he didn't win a ring. QB on a rookie contract. There you go. Not rookie year. Got it. Okay. Rick says I'll come to dinner. Start Alfredo.
Dude, Alfredo Gutierrez only got on the field for like one play last year in the preseason
in Mexico City. Which, come on,
yeah. I mean, I know the guy's a huge big guy and people are rooting for him, but
it's never going to happen.
I'm not trying to rag on the guy, but he's just.
If it didn't happen this year, it's never going to happen.
He's got a long way to go before he steps onto an NFL field and gets real reps. Yeah, he's got to show a lot to the coaches.
Unless there's a lot of injuries, who knows? I don't know. I think they'd still just take people off the street probably before that. We'll see. The only thing that stops it, he's just there because there's an extra roster spot. Let's face it, folks. I mean, it doesn't count against the practice squad. It's like an extra practice squad, so why not fill it with somebody? The only thing that stops us from being super bound us, as I said lately, is healthy, upright, protect the pocket, and Vegas 2024 is in the foreground, not the background. Love it, Red Jet Shell. Here we come. Let's take 6, everybody. It's doable. It's definitely doable. But for me with Kyle, like he's got to do it this year, and I'd really like it if Brock did. Like I said, if Brock balls out and it doesn't work out for other reasons, I can't hold that against Brock. I mean, if he improves, even a little bit over 2022, then it's gonna be hard to hold too much against him. It's Kyle for not having a better backup if he gets injured. That's the one that I think of. 49ers got to take it 1 week at a time. Yeah, just like anything, don't look ahead. No trap games. Don't get caught looking at your next opponent. That'll be a big one in week 4 with the Cards, as we have the Cowboys on deck or in the batter's box. Not to overlook the Cards, who are ostensibly tanking, but they made a game with the Commanders over the weekend, so pretty interesting. Dana Barry highlights in the house. Welcome, Dana Barry. Thanks for joining. Rick's saying they have to protect the ball and no penalties. Absolutely. And turnovers are key too. Usually the team that wins the turnover battle wins the game. That's very consistent across the NFL. Randy says tight window, right side, long pass. That was the cool thing about the pass to Ayuk, the second TD, was I was harping in the offseason about how Purdy had a limited passing chart, at least in the regular season last year, where it was like green to the left, yellow in the middle, red to the right. Ayuk was to the right there, and it was like 18, 19-yard pass. I don't think there were any more than 19 air yards in the game, and no completed total pass with Yak went over 23. But it was great to see him hit a throw to his right like that to Ayuk, kind of like the one to Ayuk in Seattle that Ayuk dropped. So in the playoffs, in the wild card. So I'm going to start doing some chats. Bash, what do you want to talk about here?
Oh, I'm pretty much. I pretty much said it all. I mean,
There you go.
I'm just
Randy's
ready
worried
for
about
this Sunday.
Jacksonville and Daytona. Oh, got it. Okay. Randy's worried about Jacksonville. I'm worried about Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Cleveland, we'll see. They beat the Bengals, so we'll see. I'm hesitant to crown them, but we saw Jacksonville come back and beat the Chargers in the playoffs last year. Herbert, that impressed me, and they added some more weapons down there, so we'll see. But yeah, I think we've been going for a while here, folks. An hour and 20 minutes. We usually try and keep these to an hour 15, somewhere around there. So
What was your prediction for the score, Ted?
I'm definitely not as bullish as you. I'm not as bearish as silly fun guy who said 28-24 Niners beat the Rams. It's hard for me to make a prediction without knowing who all is there. So I may revise this, right before game time once we see the actives and inactives and everything. But I'll go with 49ers 31 and Rams 24. We don't cover the 8.5 points, but it's 7 points, a little more than Silly Fun Guy's 4.
So on mine, we covered 35-13. Okay, there you go.
Oh, heavily covered. We smashed it.
Oh yeah, we definitely
bet the rent money if you believe in Bash. So do it, folks. Get out there.
Believe in Bash.
Put that money down. Speaking of money, I did line up a new sponsor yesterday.
Okay, there you go.
For the show. So more to come on that. We'll be adding their logo to some of my overlays.
It's not the Renob floor wax sponsor that Ryan had on the Word Sports channel. That sponsor.
This is I don't want to talk too much about it until it's all in place.
Drop it when you get it, when you have it, when it's official.
Yeah, when it's official. But it's good, and they're flexible. They're like, hey, if this goes well, we have more budgeted. If it goes well, so. And I said, hey, if it doesn't, I'm okay going a little bit less too. I don't want to rip anybody off. It's my first sponsor, so. I just want it to be fair for both sides and liquid, and it sounds like it will be, so that's awesome.
I had an offer that I was supposed to do something with, got on the phone with them, and for whatever reason didn't hear back from them since. They told me go on this website and do this, and I did, and it is what it is. they never got back to me, so I don't know. It didn't seem like it was worth it anyways for what they wanted.
Frank Tom Ocean, tardy to the party, but better late than never. Great to have you here, buddy. Thanks for stopping in.
Pitta, the tight end.
Liked vids on both channels. Thanks, Laura. We appreciate it. And yeah, all of Bash's info is in my description. His handles for Twitter and YouTube, plus the link to YouTube. So all you got to do is click it. Makes it real easy. You don't even have to look it up or type anything. So make sure you get on over there and give like. He says Kittle's getting older. Yeah, I think Kittle's still got plenty left in the tank. Well, I think the Niners think so too, because they just restructured his deal, which means he's going to be around for a little bit longer. We kicked the can down the road a little bit with Kittle. But yeah, I know we're running short on time. I am too, actually. And so let's just say thanks everybody who tuned in. Thank you, Bash, as always, for being flexible and just for putting up with me every week. It means a lot to me.
Everybody hates me now because they hate you. So that's what I have to put up. Just kidding.
I say that to Aaron. I said that all the time on the area. So I'm like, I hope Aaron doesn't catch any strays or become collateral damage from standing too close to me when a blast goes off.
That's the collateral damage.
Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it.
It is. But if anything, hopefully I drove some people to your channel, so maybe you got more views out of it.
Who knows? Great.
At least I could help that way. And also, when I argue with those, folks, clowns, whatever you want to call them on the timeline, the randos. I think that's a good one. Randos. It's not too pejorative. The thing I keep in my mind when I'm doing that is like, then there's less chance they're out bugging you or Aaron or any of the other content creators that we like in Ninerland. They're focused on me. I can be like a human shield. And if there's two things I'm good at, it's like lumping heavy things and being a human shield. So at least I'm doing my part there to hopefully keep those guys from bugging y'all as much.
Yeah, I was just joking. I saw a little bit about Twitter. That's all. It's just no big deal.
Woo, man.
David Yang's here. You're kind of late, bro. Great to have you here, though. It's always good to see you.
Thanks for coming. Sorry, we're wrapping,
We're just closing it up, though.
So we'll just say peace and go Niners.
Go
beat the Rams.
Niners. Levi South.
Cook the lambs, baby. Skewer them.